So guys, for today I wanted to talk a little bit about the CrossFit controversy. Okay, so we've been in lockdown for plenty of time and it's given me the opportunity to watch the latest CrossFit documentary, which if you guys haven't seen any of the CrossFit documentaries, you should definitely check them out because the people that are competing in those contests are absolute monsters, and the documentaries are really well made and really inspiring and actually get you driven and psyched up to do your own workouts. So worth checking out. The CrossFit controversy is one of those things that's been going on in the fitness industry ever since CrossFit came about. Partly comes down to the way CrossFit markets itself, the fact that it turns around and says that CrossFit is a way of establishing who the fittest person on earth is, which seems like a weird argument considering there are so many sports that do assess different fitness components and do assess fitness as a whole as well, and there are plenty of people who would define themselves as the fittest people on earth, and the athletes involved in CrossFit competitions aren't necessarily putting out big numbers or aren't necessarily the fastest people in the world, aren't necessarily the fittest people in the world over long distances, but as a whole I'd say that CrossFit is a pretty good way of testing fitness in general, in a gym sense at the very least. So where does the CrossFit controversy stem from? There's a lot of people out there that talk about the fact that CrossFit isn't going to make you fitter, that CrossFit's just going to lead to injuries, that CrossFit just overloads your body, that CrossFit is purely about making people sweat and making people work hard without any real thought. Okay. Personally, my view as someone who has only done 1 or 2 CrossFit sessions in my life, CrossFit is freaking difficult, really, really hard. All of those things are potentially true if we look at them from the perspective of a strength and conditioning coach. But is CrossFit necessarily a training modality? And that's the big question, that's the fundamental question for me, and that's where I think the argument has come from. The issue that people seem to think of CrossFit as a way of getting fit, which for some people it will make you fitter. If you're a novice, if you're coming into it and you've not done any exercise at all, if it doesn't break you, it's going to make you fitter. If you are an intermediate athlete, if you're someone that's trained in the gym for a little while, and it's going to make you fitter across a broader spectrum of fitness components, particularly if you were just kind of focusing in on one area. But if you have a particular weakness that you want to work on, or you have a particular goal in mind, it's not necessarily going to be the thing that makes you fitter. And the reason being, it's not got that same level of programming behind it. It's more about challenging people, helping people to identify their weaknesses, working people out to their limits, and building grit and determination in individuals and helping them to push through barriers. So it's quite good for developing that dirty fitness, it's quite good for developing fitness across the board, but it's not going to optimize your fitness in a particular area. But it shouldn't have to, because actually CrossFit is not a training modality. CrossFit in its own right is a sport. It looks to test people in competitive environments across a wide array of disciplines. So as a sport, it serves its purpose. You wouldn't turn around and go, oh, don't play basketball because it's not going to make you fitter. You wouldn't turn around and say the same about squash players. You wouldn't say the same about football players. You'd say, great, I'm really pleased you're doing that. That's an awesome thing for you to participate in. Okay, this is the training that you need to do alongside that in order to make sure that you actually achieve your goals, you stay strong, you stay healthy, you avoid injury. If we look at CrossFit in the same way and we say, right, okay, you go to your CrossFit club, you do your CrossFit workouts, you do all of those things, you compete in your CrossFit competitions, fantastic. Supplement that with this, and this. We see athletes developing and increasing their strength, increasing their power, increasing their speed, increasing their fitness, their stamina, etc., and then applying that to the awesome sport that is CrossFit. So people need to stop looking at CrossFit as a training modality, look at it as a sport, engage in it, participate in it, do it because it is awesome, but be aware that it needs to be supplemented with other training modalities and other strategies of developing fitness. Okay, guys? So that's my thoughts. Hope they are useful to some of you, and if you have any questions or you want to fire anything back in my direction, I'm more than happy to engage with anyone about this. I'm quite keen to hear people's thoughts on this, because personally I find it quite interesting that it has led to such a combative position in the fitness industry.